Some guys really like Batman, and they had an epiphany. So they all got to work on the next Batman movie. And now they are the heroes, and you get to follow along. They're bringing him to life every week after this song. Batman, Project Batman, Project Batman. Fuck yeah. That's what I named it. That's how I named this file. Batman.
That's a great name.
Okay. I want to see if it's saved.
Okay, I think this is good.
That's much better.
Well, here.
This is much better.
If you want, I can introduce what I'm about to have you guys listen to.
Okay.
Okay. So I've been fiddling around with the soundtrack, just experimenting. And this is one of my earlier experiments. I've done experiments since to keep breaking my computer, so I don't have any of those for you. But I got something called Miroslav Philharmonic, which is a sort of sampling of a bunch of different orchestral instruments. I think it's like the Czech Philharmonic Orchestra or something. They just fucking recorded all these instrument sounds, and then you take MIDI music, which is what I've been composing, and you slave the MIDI into the Philharmonic, and it replaces all the electric tones with actual recorded instruments. And if I can figure out how to give Ken a quality MP3 of this, because every time I've tried, it ends up changing the volume on everything, and then it's not right, and I hate it. But it doesn't sound quite as good. But here's an attempt.
Yay.
And hopefully it doesn't blow out my fucking speakers. It almost did. I'm the closest door to crickets. There's a bunch of crickets that live next door. Those are my neighbors. Do they have restless leg syndrome?
Call the landlord and complain about how loud your neighbors are.
I should.
That did sound fucking great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But yeah. Well, my problem with it is
Hold
that...
on. So that's the music for the trailer, but you completely redid it.
Yeah, it's not recomposed. I just slaved it into a different engine.
Right, okay.
Well, the thing that I'm not satisfied with it yet is the choir tracks. Now, the choirs and Philharmonic sound really good, but they're still not 100% believable. And when you're talking about writing music for a Batman film, at least in the vein where we're going, there's nothing more important than the choir.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that's one thing. It's like the music for the Dark Knight trilogy. It was good, but it wasn't anything amazing. I mean, it's basically just rhythm, and occasionally a bunch of brass instruments would show up. It's like, oh shit, are we supposed to play? Mm-hmm. And then
there's the horn.
Yeah, well, that's a brass instrument.
Oh, the thing that sounded like a train engine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that is.
I don't like it.
Yeah, see, that's a French horn, and if Hans Zimmer were more of a John Williams type guy, then we'd end up with the soundtrack to Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. But no slight against Hans Zimmer, but it just didn't. That's the one thing that the Dark Knight trilogy really could have used, was a choir in the soundtrack somewhere, which it never had. Yeah. But then you look at Mask of the Phantasm, and you listen to the soundtrack to that, and that choir is instantly recognizable.
Yeah.
It goes throughout the whole movie, and they used choir to really good effect in Return of the Joker. It didn't come up a lot, but it did occasionally come up, and it was really good when it did. But for this, I mean, we're talking about literally something that can be compared to the apocalypse, even in name. And when you think apocalypse, automatically you think singing choirs, or at least I do. And so putting these things together, Batman needs choir, the apocalypse needs choir, it just sort of makes sense.
Yeah. And it sounds believable when you're on a note, but I think it's the transitioning from note to note.
Yeah.
The only thing where it...
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I have another choir program, and this thing is like 40 gigabytes of recorded choir sounds, and it's just choir sounds of some other choral bits of orchestra, and I forgot, what the hell is it called? Oh, it's called East-West Quantum Leap Symphonic Choirs, and it is incredible, and I actually have the power to adjust how those transitions sound.
Oh, sweet.
So, I mean, there's actually settings. If you don't like how the transitions between notes sound, you can actually tweak it. And were I using a different program, I could actually get refined enough to tweak it for individual notes if I want them to sound different. But, and it has all sorts of different choirs, from like all men's choir, all female choir, a church, like a full church choir, awesome. which is one of my favorite ones, and also a boys choir, which sounds, especially, I can fiddle with the reverb on it natively, and when you take that boys choir and add a lot of reverb to it, like it's echoing throughout.
What is that?
That's my monitor fucking up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I need to get a new one. But when you take this boys choir and you sort of echo it through all this reverberation, it sounds really fucking eerie and mysterious, and it's a sound that I want for the choir that pops up when we've got the whole Abaddon serum thing. You know, especially because we really want, like, the music I'm envisioning for the film, I really want just a sense of foreboding and, like, think less funeral music and more just field of death.
Oh, so Deck the Halls? I find that so creepy.
I actually learned something about that song. You know, deck the halls with balls of holly or whatever. I don't sing Christmas carols. But that was not the original first line of the song. The original first line of the song, if I remember...
Can you turn your monitor off? I'm sorry.
It makes you feel like you're going deaf or something.
Yeah.
I have tinnitus, so I actually hear that all the time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. No, there's a constant ring in my ears. That's why I have to have a fan on when I sleep.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, no, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
Like even right now.
Hmm?
Like right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If there's other noise going on, like people talking or, you know, there's traffic outside and shit, I don't notice it. But if it's, like, completely silent in a room, especially if, like, my head's pumping or something, like if I've been running a lot or something like that, then it's incredibly noticeable. It's because there's been damage to the little hairs on the inside of my ear that are responsible for picking up noise.
Huh.
And it's actually damaging the portion of my ear responsible for distinguishing human voices. That's why I have to ask people to repeat things a lot.
See, that's interesting. I have to ask people to repeat things a lot, but that's because, I mean, I don't hear as well as other people,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's because it's a gradual thing from going to so many concerts for so long, over so many years.
Well, yeah, that's I mean, have you ever noticed like a ringing in your ears when it's real quiet?
I used to, but see, check this out. Like Friday night, I went to a concert. I went to see the Flaming Lips.
How was that?
It was amazing.
I'm sorry I couldn't go.
It's okay. Hillary was able to end up going, so
There you go.
it worked out. But so we also went with Rosie, and Tom was supposed to take Rosie's other ticket, but he.
Oh.
What?
No.
What?
Oh, no.
Did
Ken!
I spit on you?
I hope so. I hope it's spit.
Dude, I'm so sorry.
It's alright. It like went in right here. I was like, oh no, what is it?
Well, as far as I knew, I was going into my arm. I'll turn next time.
Turn your head. Shit.
To be fair, usually you're sitting next to me, and Sean's facing that way, so I would be facing forward, and nobody would be hit with anything.
We'll remember that next time. But anyway, you were saying?
Okay, so, but Rosie's, or their other kid, not their baby, but their 13-year-old took the other ticket, and since Tom couldn't go, and that was his first concert. And after the show, he was talking about how his ears were ringing, and I saw him I talked to her on the phone, and I heard him say that his ears were still ringing, like yesterday. And so, like, just like he hadn't experienced that, but like I remember when my ears used to ring after concerts, and I guess like my hearing is just at a place where like, well,
it doesn't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, like you can barely hear, and concerts are pretty listenable volume for me.
I mean, what causes tinnitus is just loud, prolonged sound. Like in my field of work as a machinist, there's always loud machines, so I'm thinking about just having to wear hearing protection constantly. The problem with that is that people are always trying to talk to me, and they won't leave me the fuck alone, and they're going to have to talk to me even more because I won't be able to hear them.
Yeah. That's
Wouldn't that make your day better?
Yeah.
No, because they're going to have to talk to me more to get the point across.
But you won't hear it.
But they'll yell. They'll yell until I do.
They can just develop simple hand signals to get the point across. So.
Like a simple...
Well, they're going to have to... You know what I fucking hate? My inspection office, because there's a CMM, which is a coordinate measuring machine. It's a computer thing for checking parts. The inspection room has... Because of that CMM, it has a small air compressor in there that runs the CMM. Mm-hmm. And so it sort of drowns out all the noise, which is useful when I'm in inspection because I need it to be quiet. It does pretty much the same thing that a fan does while I'm asleep. The problem is that I can't hear people walk in the room. So people will walk in the room and then start talking, and it'll scare the fucking shit out of me every time, because suddenly some sort of madman has just apparated into the room and started firing off curses. But anyway, 10 subjects ago, East-West Quantum Leap symphonic choirs.
Yeah.
I want to incorporate that into the soundtrack. Unfortunately, it means that I have to recompose a lot of my music because the ranges of a lot of the voices are limited. You know, there's like soprano part and then an alto part that overlays it, but I've got, for some reason, all of my fucking parts that I have written are in like this key between soprano and alto. So it's just like I've got half the fucking notes. Like anything that's not in that range won't play. So I'll have half a fucking choir part. You know, so we'll sing like da da
Damn.
da da. But I managed to rewrite one of the songs to get that to work. The problem is that my computer seems to want to bitch out every time I load those choirs. So I've either got to get a new computer, or I've got to figure out what's wrong, or I've just got to tell it to be a man, and, you know, just this is good Swansonism. It needs to stop crying. Crying is acceptable at funerals in the Grand Canyon.
Did he say that?
Yes, he said that.
That's funny. I just watched that right before I came over here.
Oh, really?
That's awesome.
The most recent one.
But
I'm far behind.
But yeah, so here. Let me have you listen to some of the symphonic choir real quick.
Yeah.
Assuming.
But I did hear he's having a kid.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Who's having a kid?
Ron Swanson.
Well, that wasn't a very manly thing to do.
Yeah, he's married.
That's not a very manly thing to do at all.
He hates himself for it.
I bet.
So, Ken, any movies you've seen lately?
Well, I was gonna wait till he got on mic again to bring that up, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but while he's not on mic, I'll bring up the fact that while I was working my day job, Jimmy John's last week, I had the happy surprise of while pulling up at a house at a delivery, hearing a familiar voice across the street say, "Hey, Ken." And it was my buddy Sean on shift at his job too.
That was awesome.
It was awesome.
That happened?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that happened.
And
you guys are assholes.
And like Jimmy John's is super fast delivery service and shit, so I had to like be quick and get that shit to the door. So I was like, "Hey, man," and then I felt like I just sort of walked away from you, like I ignored you. But like I walked up to in that apartment building and gave her that shit, and then I walked over to him, and then like. He was like, "Yeah, I've just been standing here all day doing nothing." Like, he was like, Sean had to move a fucking cone. And that was your job all day for hours. And as soon as I walked up to him, he got radioed to go do some other shit. I was like, "Did you plan that, man? Did you plan that so your friends would get you away from me? You don't like me." When I walked up the apartment building, Sean's radio and his friends like, "Hey, man, I don't want an awkward moment just because we see each other on the job. In 2 minutes, call him radio for me to do some other shit."
That was actually the highlight of my day. As soon as I got there, some guy called me a fucking idiot.
Oh, man.
That was real sweet of him. And then about 20 minutes later, a random guy walked up to me and said, "I'm going to say a prayer for you." And I thought he meant at home. So I said, "Okay. You know, whatever. I'm not going to be a dick here." And then he grabs my hand and starts saying a prayer.
Holy shit, something might have worked.
Holy shit, Batman came.
I've never experienced
And then he ran over here and saved the day. No, but I was really happy to see you that day.
I was happy to see you, too. It was the highlight of my day.
But the choirs might work here.
I also thought, as soon as I fucking see Ken, I have to go do something. I've been staying there for like 4 hours.
Oh my god, beating sun.
Yeah.
Just like, ugh.
It's one of the worst things ever. Although I'm going to save a hell of a lot of money at the tanning booth, so...
Ooh, you're a thinker.
Sean's pretty much black now.
Two birds, one stone.
I actually have gotten pretty dark.
It looks... Yeah. Wow, you look different.
It's working.
You're like... Whoa, you're closer to John Stamos. You just became like 40% more attractive. Before you were like meth at Harry Potter,
I'm sure.
and now you're like somewhere between there and John Stamos.
Somewhere between there and Johnson. That's hilarious. Well, anyways, check this out.
Just made my day again.
Oh, hey, cool, it didn't work. It's broken.
Fuck.
Is it supposed to do that?
I don't think so.
Generally, it's supposed to make sounds. Oh, cool, I know what happened. It ruined everything.
Ugh.
That's exactly what I wanted, right? Oh, wait, no.
And now a brief word from our sponsor.
Hi, That's how Batman fights.
He forgot his finishing move.
Oh yeah, where he pulls his dick out of his utility belt.
Brought to you by Carl's Jr.
I was trying for a second in the middle of it. I was like, I could come up with like some fucking crazy Batman Gotham character related thing to be advertising over this music, but I didn't feel clever enough in the moment.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I'm pretty cool.
You're pretty cool. I had a tummy ache like an hour ago, so I like hit some weed right before I came over here, and then in the middle of that I was like, what could I say? I was like, Joker here. If you're interested in, fuck, I got nothing.
We should get P-Gerts to ask people, hey, we're awesome. I'm going to talk to P-Gerts about that.
That's a very valid question to ask people. Hey, we're awesome.
Well, I mean, to be fair, well, let's see if this worked.
Let's see if you work.
That's right, Otto.
Oh shit, it's doing this crap again. We're broke.
No.
And that's the problem I've been having. Where nothing works at all. But if I were to say, take this.
At this point in the recording, Otto chooses to play around with sounds on his virtual keyboard for about 5 minutes and describe the differences and what it can do, and honestly, it wasn't great listening. So I've taken the liberty of taking those out for you. Sorry, Otto. We appreciate your process, all the same. Back to the show!
But yeah, no, it's just... If I had the music working, then you can play that, but for the moment I can only fiddle around with the keyboard until I figure that out.
Listen, you're getting somewhere, you know?
Yeah. See, I had it working though once, and it sounded really good, and then it crapped out on me.
I'm sorry.
But, well, oh yeah, so we were talking about Harry Potter earlier.
And because you brought up Okay, well, okay, you go with what you were doing. I'll know where I want to go.
Yeah, because we were talking about Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, and how Ken thought it was the most boring book because he hated Umbridge, and I thought it was one of my favorite books because they gave Umbridge what she deserved. And here is my best backup argument for that. There was an article on crack.com about a year ago.
Hold on. First of all, there's nothing to argue here because you're absolutely right. I'm just saying I'm just saying that's the least fun I had reading a Harry Potter book was that book.
Okay, so...
But go ahead.
Okay, but this will make you feel a little bit better about that book.
Okay.
Now, if you haven't read Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, well, it was written 10 years. It was written 10 years ago, you have no excuse. And there's a part near the end where Professor Umbridge is led into the forest by Harry Potter and a very brainy Hermione Granger, who has just come up with some completely fucking cockamamie plan to get out from under Umbridge's, punishment. And she's just doing this thing wildly while she goes. Well, in the forest, they meet the centaurs, who are pissed at the wizards because the wizards took in one of the centaurs that they exiled, and so they're very mad about it. And so Umbridge hates anything she considers a half-breed, and so she begins insulting the centaurs. You don't call a centaur a half-breed or less than human intelligence or anything. They get really fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And, Hermione knows this and leads them to the centaurs and tells the centaurs, hey, this bitch, she's a bitch. Now, when she pleads for help, Hermione completely and utterly refuses. And this is very important because Hermione Granger's entire purpose in the series of Harry Potter is to know absolutely everything. She does. Which means she's also probably familiar with the folklore that has been circulating since centaurs started appearing in antiquity, that centaurs would often gang up, steal, and rape human women.
Okay.
Hermione did not go into the forest without knowing this, and did not, there is no reason that she would not be perfectly aware of this when she sent Umbridge to her fate.
Okay.
And that was the day that Harry Potter learned that you do not fuck with Hermione Granger.
Okay. Look, I get what you're saying and I love it, but...
This is from that article.
Okay.
I can find the article if you really want to read it.
No, I believe you. And I just think that point is awesome. But also, this is a universe J.K. Rowling has set up where, we all know dragons exist, but the dragons exist in her way in this universe. I don't think there's...
She's not afraid to explore sexual themes, because in the previous book, it's not stated directly, but it's very heavily implied that Fleur Delacour and Roger Davies were behind a bush fucking.
Yeah. I'm not saying...
Because what the hell else would you do? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I'm not saying sex isn't implied in those books. I'm just saying... I don't know if that was her exact intention there, was to imply that.
You're going to have to read this article.
Alright, I mean, Cracked is great at convincing me of shit.
But yeah, it's just... I was just like, God damn, Hermione, you're evil as shit.
Those centaurs have their own history. The Harry Potter universe isn't our universe.
Okay. Now, hold on. Now, look at this. I'm going to find the article.
Okay.
You can use this one over here if you want. Oh, wait, I can't connect to your internet, so no, you can't.
Bryan Cranston's transformative new role.
For Godzilla?
Is that what it is?
I assume.
Oh no, he's going to be on Broadway.
Ah.
Oh, he's going to play Lyndon B. Johnson
Interesting.
on Broadway. Oh yeah, that's what it was. This is actually a really crazy. It's a cracked article called "The 5 Most Depraved Sex Scenes Implied by Harry Potter." It's actually a really good article altogether. The other ones are crazy, but let me get into this one. Okay, so Dolores Umbridge gets gang raped by centaurs. Dolores Umbridge is perhaps the one person in the whole Harry Potter universe who is virtually impossible to like, no matter what. Can you hear me from there?
Yeah.
Can the microphone hear me from there?
Well, I pointed it at you. Yeah, it's picking you up. Yeah.
Dolores Umbridge is perhaps the one person in the whole Harry Potter universe who is virtually impossible to like, no matter what angle you choose to piss on her from. The short-lived headmistress of Hogwarts gets off on torturing children, has an unflinching, holier-than-thou attitude, and unless David Yates has something stashed for an extended edition of the films, she gets away with it. Well, unless you count the part where she is abducted and gang-raped by centaurs in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. And if you think we're just filling in the rape stuff with our filthy imaginations, hang on. Near the climax of the book and film, Umbridge is being hauled screaming into the Forbidden Forest by a group of centaurs. No one sees what happens next. What you have to realize is there's a reason Rowling made sure it was centaurs who snatched Umbridge, rather than any of the other countless dangerous creatures in the forest, like the giant spiders. If you're familiar with the mythology of centaurs, seeing a screaming woman get hauled away by a bunch of them gives you the same feeling you get in Deliverance when Ned Beatty falls into the hands of the hillbillies, or when Bruce Willis and Ving Rhames wind up imprisoned by the same in Pulp Fiction. Centaurs rape human women. That's what they do. That's a central part of their mythology. In one legend, centaurs were invited to a wedding feast and attempted to rape the bride. In another, the famous centaur Nessus was killed while trying to rape a woman. That's the point of centaurs as characters. They have the heads of men and the animal urges of horses. People on the internet familiar with the mythology were quick to notice this, as were feminist blogs, of course. After all, showing Umbridge getting dragged away by centaurs would be like having Draco Malfoy getting his comeuppance by having him hauled into the back of a windowless van by a creepy guy with a wispy mustache. We don't need to see what happens next if we know the context. Now, if that had been the last time we ever saw Umbridge in the series, then you can say, okay, maybe these centaurs are different, maybe they just trampled her to death, or stabbed her, or tied her to a tree, and strapped a bag full of oats to her face. But Umbridge comes back, and comes back suffering from some kind of major trauma that didn't involve any damage to the visible parts of her body. Here's Rowling's depiction of her in the aftermath, and I just read this last week, so this is accurate. Professor Umbridge was lying in bed opposite them, gazing up at the ceiling. Since she had returned to the castle, she had not, as far as any of them knew, uttered a single word. Nobody really knew what was wrong with her either. Her usually neat, mousy hair was very untidy, and there were still bits of twigs and leaves in it, but otherwise she seemed to be quite unscathed. Madame Pomfrey says she's just in shock, whispered Hermione. Sulking, more like, said Ginny. Yeah, she shows signs of life if you do this, said Ron, and with his tongue he made soft, clip-clopping noises. Umbridge sat bolt upright, looking around wildly. Anything wrong, Professor? Called Madame Pomfrey, poking her head around her office door. No, said Umbridge, sinking back into her pillows. No, I must have been dreaming. Hermione and Ginny muffled the laughter in the bedclothes. To make it even weirder, two characters watch Umbridge getting dragged away. Harry Potter and Hermione Granger. At least one of those two knows that centaurs are rape machines. Hint, it's Hermione, the character whose main purpose in the plot is to know absolutely everything. Neither of them make an effort to save Umbridge. Potter gets in a witty, James Bond-esque quip as she's being dragged away, which only happened in the film. He didn't get to say, I must not tell lies in the book. J.K. Rowling missed that. She also missed mischief managed. And
Yeah,
the last
she
thing Lupin said in Prisoner of Azkaban. He said it in the movie, but he didn't have anything like that in the book.
Wait,
It was sad.
what do you mean?
As just sort of a clever last line. Anyway, tangent.
Yeah.
But Potter gets in a witty James Bond-esque quip as she's being dragged away, and Hermione seems satisfied that mass horse rape is a fitting punishment. We like to think that on the way back to school, Harry asks, "So what do you suppose those centaurs are going to do to the professor?" And then Hermione casually described to him how Umbridge would almost certainly be brutally violated by equinely endowed interspecies rapists. And that was the day Harry learned that you do not mess with Hermione Granger.
See, now I'm convinced, but I don't want to be. Because it's just a really well-written article. Because that's what Cracked does.
And then
Cracked has convinced me that Billy Joe Armstrong, lead singer at Green Day, and like personal hero, completely like cheated on his wife and had a terrible affair, and that's what the entire last trilogy of albums was about.
But yeah, this article has all sorts of crazy other sex scenes things, like magical date rape drugs are sold legal in the open, polyjuice potion and temporary gender reassignment. Dumbledore's brother got busted for bestiality. Sean and I were just talking about the other day. Aberforth was arrested for performing inappropriate charms on goats.
Huh.
And then, and Hagrid's father banged a giant.
Yeah.
You see, and I was wondering about the mechanics. I'm very ashamed to admit that I was wondering about the mechanics of that, but I was, because it just
Don't be
doesn't.
ashamed to admit that. I have too.
Yeah, I thought about it too.
It's just like, how does that work?
Yeah.
It's awesome though.
It is
Not-
awesome.
Is it?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. Dude, if I came back here next week, like this week I'm just Project Batman Ken, and I come back here next week and I'm like, hey guys, and Sean's like, so what's up, Ken? He says in the same way he always does, and instead of me being Ken saying the same thing he always does, saying, oh, not much, I say, oh, I banged a giant. Do you guys not like?
I fucking applaud.
Yeah, think of me like fucking. You regard me a little differently, a little more. I'm a little more awesome. Yes.
Well, I'd say yes.
Do you not think of that Futurama episode where they get death by Snoo Snoo?
Well, yeah, no, that's what I think of, and it scares me.
What? No.
No,
Even they were happy about it. They were getting killed.
No,
by
think
Snoo
about
Snoo.
it. You think of how ostracized loose women are in our society, right? Women who are physically loose in their genitals. Now, just take the female genitals and multiply them in size by at least 4, and tell me you're going to be able to feel anything. I mean, at that point, you might as well just start stuffing furniture in there to get rid of it, because that's what you got the space for. I mean, there's enough room in there to park a small car and still have room to open the doors to get out of the car.
You know nothing of the mechanics of giant anatomy.
No, I don't. But I know about the mechanics of size.
Perhaps a giant's vagina adapts to the size of whatever's being put forth.
Yeah.
Now, okay. Now, riddle me this. Tom, riddle me this.
Mm-hmm.
What about half giants wherein...
Come sit over here.
What about half giants wherein the giant was the father?
Well, then
Someone's gonna die.
It's almost as if this is a mythical fictional reality we're talking about.
Would you believe... Okay, now... There's a phenomenon among Star Trek fandom about how Vulcan sex works. Because there have been a lot of thanks to Reddit that I know this now. Fuck you, Reddit. But there have been a lot of different things based on how do Vulcans and humans interbreed. Because it is never explicitly stated that Vulcans have the same sex organs. It's only implied that they're compatible because there are half-human Vulcans. But, like, there's all these fucking bizarre theories on what a Vulcan penis looks like, and apparently the most widely accepted is that it is pretty much a normal penis, except it also has these two, like, tendrils on either side of it that are, like, prehensile and shit, and they're used for, like, doing all the hard stimulating work, and they work kind of like the fucking like the pistils on the inside of a flower, and like the stamen and all that shit. Like, this has been an ongoing debate since like the 70s.
But it's just crazy fan fiction speculation.
But at the same time, what we're talking about is just as weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what point I was trying to make. I just wanted to demonstrate that I knew that Vulcan penises have tendrils.
Okay.
I wanted other people to suffer through that.
Oh god.
There were drawings in this wiki article.
Did you know cat penises have spikes on them, so if the female cat tries to get away, she can't, she gets hurt?
My first girlfriend told me that. That was who I learned that from.
Well, that wasn't good.
I should have seen it as a bad omen. in hindsight.
You know, the male, our penis, the way the mushroom, the cap is shaped, it's like designed so like as you're going in and out, as it comes out, it's pulling out any other male semen that may be on the walls of the vagina. So by the time that you come in there, you've cleaned everyone else out.
I did learn that recently. Though, I thought of something in there. That only works with a circumcised penis.
Yeah.
Which means I have to wonder...
Which means evolution was counting on us to always...
chop most of our dicks off.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which sort of backs up any theory like nothing's an accident. Almost.
I was an accident.
No. Because we're doing this.
What if this accidentally happened?
Well, maybe all...
Sean's kid was an accident. I'm just putting you on the fucking...
Misfortunate.
It was a souvenir.
Apparently my penis did too much of that scraping thing. I don't get it, but...
Too much or not enough?
Probably not enough.
So, you'd mentioned Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which a lot of people say is their favorite of the films.
As do I.
Speaking of that one in particular, have you seen the director of that film's newest film?
Gravity? Not yet.
First in the box office.
You should go see it in IMAX 3D with me.
Okay.
Because...
When?
Well, I've already seen it.
How was it?
It's fucking amazing. It's an amazing ride.
Because I've got to leave for school for like 5 days on Sunday.
Okay, Christian wants to see it too. We should all three go before then.
Okay, I usually get off work around 5 and I'm back at Waynesboro by 5:15, 5:30.
Okay, let's go.
And also I can't do it Saturday nights.
Thursday or Friday, you pick.
We'll see what happens, but probably Friday.
Okay, cool. You should come too.
I would, but I'm working.
Okay.
I never know when I'm getting off.
Okay.
Well, if you get off in time, we'll come get you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
It has to be in
Even
it has to be in Charlottesville because you don't want to see this movie not in IMAX.
Okay. And
That good, huh?
Dude, it's
And even if you are working, we'll come get you. I mean, how, like, imagine it, because your job is to stand in traffic and direct it. What if we just drove by, fucking pulled you in the car, and left?
And there would be a lot of questions.
No, there wouldn't. I mean, come on.
Not for me.
But no, here's the question. It's like 20 minutes later, it's like, oh yeah, did you guys see that Sean got kidnapped? What? Yeah, no, look, he's not standing there. Really? You sure? No, that's just the sign. What? No, hold on. No, he must be behind it.
How do we know he
Oh,
didn't
shit!
How do we know he didn't just quit? He had to have gotten abducted.
Oh, see, because he left a note. Ah, I've been abducted. Be back tomorrow, Sean.
Seems legit.
Yes.
They all seem kind of dumb. I think they'll buy it.
Meanwhile, both sides of traffic that you've had to separate and you're spinning the sign around for have, like, just crashed into this massive heap of metal.
You know what I wonder if anybody's been... You know what I wonder if anybody's ever done? And this is a really dark thought, and I shouldn't be laughing at it.
Started a traffic accident on purpose.
No, I know people have done that.
What?
No. What if somebody made, like, a suicide note that was just completely tongue-in-cheek, smart-ass, describing, oh, I swear to God, these fucking ninjas broke in, and I don't know what was going on, but I had to fight all of them, and I think I broke my spine. Could you imagine if that was the case? Has that ever happened, do you think?
Like, someone set up a suicide to look like...
something that was obviously fictional.
Yeah.
I wonder.
I feel like if you have that much of a sense of humor...
You probably wouldn't be committing suicide.
Yeah.
Well, look at there's funny people who've committed suicide.
Yeah. But...
Yeah.
Like, oh man, who is that one guy? Really funny guy.
I mean, Kurt Cobain was hilarious. He was, seriously.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, neat. Well, I mean, I thought it was funny when he was singing. I don't know what he was singing about, but... You ever hear that, of course you've heard that Weird Al song, Smells Like Nirvana.
I have. He sang it to me.
Sang you to sleep. I can imagine Weird Al standing over Ken's bed, singing him to sleep. Ken's just sitting there, 25. Are you 26 yet? I forget.
I'm 25.
Okay. I forgot whether you turned 25 this February or last February. I know it's in February.
You're right.
I'm really bad with dates. I only remember Sean's birthday because it was like a week and a half ago.
Wait, your birthday is... I should know this. But I don't. It's... Oh man, I'm not gonna guess.
Dude, guess. No, I want to see. I want to see.
No,
No, do it. Do it. What are you thinking?
No,
First date
because-
that comes to mind.
Hold on, let me think. Hold on. Because I can remember doing things... We've known each other like 3 years now. 2 years. Two or three?
Uh,
I can remember hearing about your birthday at least
two and a
twice.
half.
At least twice.
Because I started working for Papa John's in March of 2011, and you started again there either shortly before that or shortly after that. But we met sometime around there.
Okay, so 2.5 years we've known each other. And you... Okay.
It was, I think, a year ago this week that I quit.
Nice.
I think it was.
I don't know.
It's December 10th.
Okay.
How close was your guess?
I was... Well, what I was trying to... I don't know. I was just trying to place, like, the memories that, like, I have of your birthday and, like, put them along with something else that was happening in my life. But they're so, like, individualized that, like, I couldn't
Yeah, it was like you couldn't even place it with the snow because we had snow for seriously 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it straight up snowed until fucking May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm kind of glad that it was like 87 degrees in the first weekend of October.
Yeah.
That was nice. I climbed the top of Humpback Rock for the first time. I mean, I've lived in the mountains for like 5 years now. I have never seen anything like that before.
Hey, guess what?
What?
I've never been to Humpback Rock.
Oh my god, we
Really?
should go to Humpback Rock. You stand on top of the mountain, you fucking look at all that shit. You can I swear, you can see the curvature of the earth. It's nuts. Like, we went there and we watched, we didn't watch sunrise right there. Jason and I stayed up all night the other night and just got fucking bored, and we decided, oh yeah, let's go to the fucking Blue Ridge Parkway. And so we watched the sunrise, and the sun came up over the mountains blood red. It was cool. But then it's about an hour hike to the top of Humpback Rock from the base where the parking lot is. The parking lot's really tiny; it's always full. But we get there to the top of the mountain, and it's just like this giant craggy rock face on top of a mountain, and you climb onto it. And it's not like really rock climby or anything; it's just climby. Because imagine a hill made out of rock. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what it is. And then you get on top of there, and driving along the parkway, you can see a really long way. That doesn't hold a candle to the top of Humpback Rock. Because at the top of Humpback Rock, not only are you higher up than any point on the parkway for miles and miles. I mean, you're serious. I think the top of Humpback Rock, I forget what the sign said, but I think it's like 1,700 feet above the road. Like, you can see the road way the fuck down there.
That's nuts.
And then...
Where is it? How do you get to there?
It's on the Blue Ridge Parkway.
It's like 15 minutes from here down the road.
Okay.
And then you get there, and you can see all at once Stewart's Draft, Waynesboro. I think you can see Stanton and Fishersville going on that direction. You look around, you've got Afton and Charlottesville. I mean, you've seriously got, at the top of this mountain, maybe 270 degrees of visibility, and you can see at least 10 miles in any given direction.
That's insane.
It's, oh my god, like, having lived here, and I've always loved being on the Blue Ridge Parkway, like, you go to Raven's Roost and you can see Waynesboro from 12 miles away.
That's nuts.
Which is, yeah, it's really nuts. As a matter of fact, with my telescope that I use for astronomy, you can actually read the Walmart sign. It's pointed the right direction to read it from Raven's Roost.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. But from here...
To be in nature and thinking about Walmart.
Right? But, yeah, it was just weird to... Because, like, I'm used to being able to see really long distances, but just to have that sort of scope, and you can see just fog rolling through the mountains. Because we got there, it was like 9:30 in the morning or something, so the morning fog hadn't entirely dissipated. Mm-hmm. And it was the most bizarre thing, because there were parts of it where the only thing you could see were the mountaintops over the clouds. Mm-hmm. Over this fog that had just rolled over everywhere. It's ridiculous. I got some pictures.
I just want to go now.
It's neat. Part of the reason I walked up there was to lose some weight for my Batman costume this month. It's important. Batman.
It is.
But yeah, he's right.
I'm gonna design and order some Project Batman cards to hand out to people. I see too many people with Batman clothes and shirts and shit to not.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I changed my Twitter name. I'm now the Kenn Edwards. Kenn with 2 N's. How much easier is that?
The Kenn Edwards.
Yeah.
The Kenn Edwards.
Kenn with 2 N's.
Kenn with 2 N's.
Also, follow us at Project_Batman.
So, nobody listening can look at this unless I upload it or something. But was I lying about the curvature of the Earth?
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, I can't really tell that well. Like, I still want to be up there and see.
Oh, yeah, no, it's absolutely incredible. And I'm thinking about going up there again sometime this week after work.
Let me know if you do.
Okay. What times do you normally work, Ken?
I'm off every day except Tuesdays. I'm off by 5.
Okay. So yeah, maybe we could do that Thursday and then go see the movie Friday.
Yeah.
Depending on the weather. I think it's supposed to be nice all the rest of this week.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an hour-long hike. You get to do... Not really rock climbing, but stumbling over rocks. So bring good shoes.
Okay. I'll
Boots, if you got them.
have to figure out. Yeah. I'll have something. Okay. I'm going to make us do some work.
Yeah, okay, so what... This Project Batman thing, what the hell is that?
What do you mean?
I mean, that was the original name of the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And then recently it became random bullshit.
I think people have just missed us. We've missed each other. And we just wanted to catch up and fuck, I've been paying for this shit for like 2 months with us barely releasing an episode. I'll release this fucking two and a half hour long as an episode. Got plenty of
man,
free
we didn't
space.
even
You're not gonna wonder where Breaking Bad's at.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, we haven't even done one since the finale.
Yeah.
That was weird. Last night was the first Sunday night without it.
Yep.
It's sad. The Albuquerque newspaper put in an obituary for Walter White.
I saw that.
Did they really?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert. Oops. Anyway.
Anybody who cares at all should have seen it by this point.
He didn't see it till today.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh.
Wait, did you know?
Yeah.
See? It's impossible to...
He got Ozymandias spoiled for him.
About Hank?
But I watched that with you.
No, I watched that with... No, you didn't watch that with me, because I watched that with Matt and Chris.
No, I watched Ozymandias with you. I didn't watch Granite State with you.
How did you not see...
No, because I watched Ozymandias over at Chris's place.
That's right, I saw it the next day.
How did you not see it until today?
He's just been working.
Yeah.
He works, he goes home. He works, he goes home.
Pretty much.
Also, he has a kid.
That's true.
So he works, he tries to ignore his kid.
I work and I watch Adventure Time.
Dude, that's nuts.
But it was good. I liked it. I was glad I finally got to watch it.
Yeah.
That song at the end has been stuck in my head for over a week.
Oh, really? Jason was right, though. The song at the beginning totally tells you what you're getting into. And I liked that.
Yeah.
Okay. Project Batman.
Yeah. So where were we?
Alright, so, well... I hate having to repeat this. I work a whole lot and I never have any time to do this. But, I did want to get some writing done and I got a little bit done and it's not really much, but, I was frustrated and only had so much time, so what I did was the thing that they say just to do, which is just fucking write, even if you don't think it's very good, just to get an idea out on the page, and then you'll go back and revise it later. So what I did write, which was over like 2 weeks ago, so I don't even really remember the exactness of how it went at this point. It wasn't as refined as everything else I presented to you guys the first time, but I figure we could. I think I wrote the next short scene and then started the scene after that, and you guys can go over that and we can read it and revise it and fucking then continue on from there together and finish the scene we were working on.
Okay.
Exciting. Yeah.
Okay. So the last thing that happened before this new stuff was, fucking Bruce almost having a heart attack with his bat armor, and then collapsing, and Alfred comes in and shows him the Paris attacks, and Bruce wants to leave, but then Alfred's like, yo, stay. And then Bruce is like, I.
I
Alright. Do you guys want to come sit over here and we can all see the screen?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Oh, now you're saying it. Fuck you, Sean.
I'm sorry.
Holy shit. This couch can sit 3 people. I didn't know that. I mean, as long as one of them is Sean. As long as at least one of them is Sean.
Alright.
You could be more than one person, Sean. It's okay.
So as you see on our fucking, what's this called? The layout. After the Batcave scene,
Whoa.
the button is, Bruce almost leaves Alfred but convinces him to stay to formulate a plan. But, next scene, Raish's fortress, New Cuba. Raish crosses off Paris and Ubu alerts him of how much they have left. The button, Raish orders Ubu to use all of the Abaddon for attacks and to make more. And like I said, we're going into the scene after that, so we're going to continue reading through the next scene. But, scene, Wayne Manor. Alfred rises early to prepare Bruce's breakfast. Upon delivery to Bruce's bedroom, Alfred realizes he's already awake. Therefore, he goes to the Batcave, where Batman and Alfred theorize villains and discuss a new Batsuit when they witness live attacks happen on the news. And Bruce makes the button is Bruce makes a quick decision to go see if anyone else has any information. And that would be going to the mountain meeting. So, here we go. Here's where we left off, and here's where we're starting. We'll figure out voices as we go. Interior, Raish's fortress, night. Oh man, just to repeat, I wrote this down and I don't even know if I reread it like in the moment. I was just trying to get something done. Okay. Raish approaches his wall map with an object that looks like a stamp with a handle. He sticks the end of it in his fire for a few moments, then raises it to Paris's position on the map and snickers gleefully as he burns a hole through it. Ubu approaches from the side. Be Raish.
Okay. Were there any issues?
No matter, we have plenty.
No, master.
No, master, we had plenty.
Plenty of issues?
Plenty of Abaddon.
Okay. Good. Keep making more.
Ubu turns to leave.
There's no stopping now. I want to be ready for another cleansing within a week.
Ubu stops and looks back toward Raish.
Oh, we still have some left? I said that like a question, but that's a period.
Yeah.
Oh, we still have some left?
You said
It still sounds like a question.
Yeah.
I can't make it sound like a period, apparently.
Oh, we still have some left.
There you go.
What? How much?
The estimate is 6 more cities.
Raish smiles as he crosses the chamber to his throne.
Use all of it.
Ubu nods and exits to a stairwell. When he reaches the bottom, we pan out to reveal a massive factory filled with hundreds of members of Raish's secret organization, the Society of Shadows, working tediously with green and white liquids, freezing orange gas clouds in laboratories, creating enough Abaddon to wipe out the entire species.
I like that. That's so good.
That.
Awesome. Alright. Interior, Wayne Manor, Alfred's quarters. Morning. Alfred wakes up, as if like clockwork, in his pajamas and sits up in his bed. He glances at a clock on the wall. 5 a.m. Cut to Alfred buttoning the jacket on his suit and looking himself down in the mirror. He heads out into the hallway, continuing into the kitchen. Quick cuts of Alfred preparing a standard breakfast of champions, eggs, bacon, milk, etc. He displays it all nicely on a tray and carries it up to, continuous into Bruce's quarters. Alfred lets himself in, carrying the tray. Someone be Alfred.
Master Bruce, it is rather early, and I hope you managed some sleep. I must say, I'm so glad you decided to.
He approaches the bedroom and sees the bed is empty.
Stay. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Interior Batcave. Alfred approaches Bruce, who sits at the Bat computer. He sets the tray next to the controls.
Thank you, Alfred.
So no sleep then?
I rested my eyes. Somewhat.
Let's hope that will do. Figured anything out yet?
There's not much to figure out in regard to who's behind it without going to investigate. France had countries that weren't exactly considered allies, but no enemies of that caliber I'm aware of.
Alfred points at the news on the TV.
Any developments?
Not yet.
Alfred notices the rogues gallery on the Bat computer.
I see you're looking at all our old friends. Feeling nostalgic, are we?
I know what you're thinking. These are all villains I've only had to deal with here, other than following them abroad. So why would I consider any of them to be behind this? Because I've got nothing else to go on.
As Bruce speaks, he clicks through his rogues gallery, past many familiar faces, all with notation as to their status: at large, deceased, unknown, etc. Among these faces are Joker, Catwoman, Riddler, Onomatopoeia, Heisenberg from Breaking Bad, Sean Dillon, and others.
It won't matter if you plan on saving the world as Bruce Wayne, without your suit, that is.
That's where I started. I was hoping you could help with some of the more specific features, but I think I figured out a basic design. Something like this.
Bruce brings up a blueprint of the Batman Beyond Batsuit.
Oh my, what have you so far?
And that's as far as I have.
So, I really like that.
Yeah.
The dialogue between Raish and Ubu is really shaky, but the dialogue between Alfred and Bruce works really well. And that scene where it just, I'm guessing it sort of pans through the floor and you see all the workers doing the Abaddon thing. That's what I imagine.
Yeah,
It's just
same
like this,
here.
go through the floor and there's this big factory. You're like, oh shit, they're going to kill a lot of people, aren't they?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, let's go back and edit it. And seriously, anything you want to edit at all. Okay. So here we're starting at Raish's Fortress.
Okay. So Raish approaches his wall map with an object that looks like a stamp with
I don't
a hand.
know what that was about. I don't know why I like that more than a cross at the moment. So yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I like the idea of him just crossing it out with a quill. I mean, use some like red ink.
Okay.
I like red ink.
Okay.
I like blood.
Well, here's the fucking final draft program. Take your hands at writing some scripts.
Okay.
That was really ridiculous when I read it. It now says Raish approaches the wall map with a fucking quill, Ken.
So I was looking at that, and I went in this direction. Raish approaches his wall map with a quill in hand. He sticks the end of it into a bottle of red ink, then raises it to Paris's position on the map, and snickers gleefully as he crosses Paris out as casually as he killed its inhabitants. Ubu approaches from the side.
That works.
What do you think?
I'm down. Yeah.
Okay. So this is awkward. We had plenty. It's just,
Dude, seriously, don't feel bad about doing any of this. I was just trying to, like...
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Ubu would say something more of...
I was trying to make it, I think I was trying to depict that there was a concern from Raish that they wouldn't have enough or something.
I don't think it's been named... Have we named it out loud, the Abaddon Serum, yet? I don't think we have.
No, but I was thinking we would want to keep that, like, in an expository, like, reveal with either the Clock King or even later with Batman. But if you want to put it here, that's cool. Where you did here, you put None whatsoever, Master. No survivors as far as our spies can tell, and we were well below our expected usage of the weapon. The reason I tried to be vague with how much they had left when he said we had plenty was so it could be sort of a surprise to Ray Shear when he was like, how much? And then Ubu's like, we have enough for 6 more cities, and that way he can be like, use all of it. Because that means that he knows this up here, and it doesn't really make this work down here.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. So you fix it.
Okay. Well, that's why my solution was we had plenty, but that does sound vague and not good enough. Okay. No survivors.
Why would he
Wait,
say
wait.
that? Why would he say that we still have some left, and then say later that we still have some left?
Right. Well, we had plenty doesn't necessarily indicate that you have enough for any more cities, let alone 6.
I don't think you should mention it in the first line. I think Ray should ask or something.
Okay.
So maybe it just cuts off as far as the no
about,
survivors.
What about that?
There was none whatsoever, Master. There was more than enough to ensure no survivors. There was okay. I think you should say more than enough of what? Just conversationally, it doesn't make sense. We know.
Yeah. Well, do we want to call it Abaddon or? I think it should still be like we still want to be like, what is this? What is this stuff?
What if he says it by name at the end of this scene?
Okay.
I kind of like that where it's named at the end of the scene.
Okay.
Let's just say there was.
Don't we want to not name it until we're like sort of giving it answers to it?
Well, I like that in a way. The problem is that the weapon of choice of the main villain wouldn't be revealed until the climax of the film, and it would be really
revealed earlier. It's just not named.
But it's just like weird. It's like, what if in Star Wars you see the Death Star going around blowing up planets, and at the end it's just mentioned that it is called that? I would just find that very strange.
Yeah, but I also, and I'm sorry, this is where my mind immediately goes. Also, you go for 6 seasons, you go like, man, this island is so cool. I want to know more about it. And then like it's finally like, okay, here's what it is. This is why it's powerful. But like that wasn't my thought behind this. That was just a metaphor I came up with just now. I get what you're saying. There was more than enough.
I just typed of the weapon.
Yeah.
And then he says, good, keep making more.
There's no stopping now. I want to be ready for another cleansing within a week. How do you like that?
I like it.
Yeah, I like that.
And then that opens it for Ubi to say, oh, we still have some left. Raish is like, what? How much? Do you like the estimate is 6 more cities, or we estimate 6 more cities?
I like we estimate.
Okay.
We estimate enough to destroy. We estimate enough to attack 6 more cities.
What about just enough for 6 more cities?
Okay.
I actually just read. It's some writer I really. Paul Thomas Anderson.
Nice.
They in an interview, someone asked him, "What's the biggest mistake writers make when writing dialogue?" And he immediately answered, complete sentences. Listen to how people talk. Like when you read a script and everything's so well written and everyone's in complete sentences, it just doesn't sound natural at a table read. Yeah, I think you can sort of get away with that in cartoons.
Yeah,
you can especially get away with it when you're writing for Ra's al Ghul, because that is how he talks.
Yeah,
but perhaps not so much with Ubu.
Yeah, All right. Well, how do you want to reveal the name?
Use all of it. I want to demonstrate the power of the Abaddon serum to the world. Or did we end up deciding on serum or enzyme?
I think he's already demonstrated it with Paris.
Or
The true power.
yeah, I like that. I think he should start with use all of it.
Wait.
I think he
hold
should
on.
answer
Let me
the
write
question.
it and then hear the
Okay.
the rhythm of it. Wait. So do we want serum or enzyme?
Because we had discussed this once very briefly, and I forget what the answer was. I think it would help if we knew.
I thought we used enzyme.
But serum is catchy. But I'm going to look up the definition of a serum.
Okay.
Because I think it would help if I actually could define that word.
Okay, wait. Let's just finish this debate right before you go there, because I think the use all of it afterwards makes... Just imagine the dramatic orchestral swell after it. We estimate enough for 6 more cities. Raish smiles and crosses the chamber to his throne. He's like looking at the map. I want to demonstrate the true power of the Abaddon serum. Music is swelling. Use all of it. Boom. And then Ubu exits and we reveal this. Like that use all of it shows the size of the factory.
Okay, yeah. No, yeah, that works.
Okay.
Let me go see what a serum is. Watch it be like a lotion hastily applied to the general.
Well, I think on the whole, preparation H feels good.
Is that a serum?
That's just what Mimic came to mind when you said that.
Well, serum doesn't seem to work.
What's the definition of serum?
The serum is the liquid part of blood, the fluid that separates from clotted blood similar to plasma but without clotting agents. Or a body fluid, a clear, watery body fluid, especially that's exuded by serous membranes.
Dude, I think that sort of works. The first definition. I mean, not technically with like what it's using, but like that sort of sounds like it should work.
Okay.
Well,
Then we have enzyme. An enzyme is a protein controlling biochemical reactions, any complex chemical produced by living cells that is a biochemical catalyst.
Okay, enzyme.
Yeah, enzyme is a little closer to what we're looking at. So the Abaddon enzyme it is from here on out.
Okay. Now, what about... Do we want him to say, I want to demonstrate the true power of the Abaddon enzyme or of my Abaddon enzyme?
I was thinking of my the first time you said it.
Okay.
I haven't moved.
I haven't moved. Her?
Alright. So, and you like how that last sentence is laid out? Or last pair action, or whatever.
There should be a comma there. God damn it, Ken, you're slipping. There we go.
That's awesome.
Awesome. And you like Alfred just doing his thing. I like seeing Alfred just doing his thing.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
I was imagining a camera shot, and I don't know if it'd be too silly to work. But actually, no, I can guarantee you it would be too silly to work, because it's always used a silly effect. But when you were talking about making in the breakfast, the bacon and the eggs and whatnot, I was imagining like simple, quick zooming camera shots in succession towards all of the different breakfast items.
Oh, the Sam Raimi shot.
Yeah, and they do that a lot in Hot Fuzz and, and all those guys and all those other movies those guys do. Like the one where, like, you know, he's going through and he grabs his hat, and he grabs his coat, and it zooms in on his shoes, and is sitting here tying his shoelaces for like 10 whole seconds.
Yeah.
And then when he pulls the shoelace tight, then it zooms out again and the whole action starts again.
I'm totally for that.
I don't think it would work very well in the context of this film, but I was thinking that.
Yeah. It's sort of just to show the care that Alfred puts into things. Or whatever. Okay. You like his dialogue entering the bedroom?
Oh yeah, no, that's perfect.
Okay.
Tell you, once you get done with this movie, you need to have a director's cut.
Where that happens. Actually, no, one thing. I think just it would be more Alfred to say, I'm quite glad as opposed to I'm so glad.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I'm good. I'm glad we're getting it because I remember that was a source of confusion before that he said Master Bruce instead of Master Wayne.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting real tired of your shit, Master Wayne.
All right. So go over all this dialogue or whatever. See how you.
Okay, so he says, "Thank you, Alfred," which is a very Bruce thing to say. I mean, this dialogue this is great. You've really got the whole chemistry between Bruce and Alfred down. And it's just like, so no sleep then? I rested my eyes, somewhat. He should sigh here. He should sigh before he says, let's hope that will do.
Wait.
Kind of an exasperated sigh there, Alfred.
Alfred sighing. Okay.
Fucking commas, Ken. Asshole. But yeah, I like how Alfred refers to all the old rogues gallery as our old friends. And I really love that we're going to be able to include onomatopoeia in some sense there. That's like because Kevin Smith says himself that you can't really make that villain work in any sort of context other than a comic book, but to be able to find a way to slip him into a motion picture is a very clever way to do it. Very clever indeed.
Yeah.
And I think if ever he sees this, he'll agree.
Yeah. That's the dream.
Especially when we, plaster his house with our DVDs.
Yeah. Dude,
here's 30,000 DVDs of our movie.
Dude, I can't wait till the three of us are on Fat Man on Batman.
That's gonna be great.
That's a bucket list for me. Is have Project Batman on Fat Man on Batman.
That'd be nuts.
Okay.
So we gotta get back into the thing. Sean has to finish this fucking drawings, asshole. Sorry.
It's okay.
That's why you're listed in the villains.
Crime, not finishing drawings on time.
I actually did just finish one the other day.
Oh shit, you didn't tell me that, asshole. Asshole again!
I wasn't finished. I drew the map, so now I just need a hand doing a crossing motion.
Well, draw a hand.
Well, that was to come, but I had the map first.
The hand was to come. Alright,
That's what the penis is for.
Alright, so I left a big open window for us to continue this scene together. He brings up the fucking new Batsuit, and Bruce had started working on it, and Alfred's like, oh my, what have you so far?
And now this was going to be... I always envisioned this being a kind of difficult scene to write, just because, well, here he's going to be describing the technical aspects of the suit that he's designed so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think how it would go into the dialogue of that.
Right. Well, we had some idea about...
He's already brought it up.
Okay, well, I don't know where that note is, but we had the gag line that was like Bruce was coming up with like the major points, and then Alfred suggests some more technical things that do actually end up in the suit, and then Bruce says, like, Jesus, Alfred, I'm not RoboCop or something like that.
Okay, now this was something that I thought of because I've been meaning to put together this video, and it's pretty much done. I just haven't. I've been lazy too. I should be in the villains. Anyway, but we've had a couple of questions about why the bat symbol on the new suit is yellow. And the way I've explained it in said video is that Batgirl had a hand in designing a stealth suit for Batman. Okay. Because at this point it is established that Barbara is already no longer working with Batman. So she never worked alongside the Beyond Batsuit. But we've established that the suit in some very protogenic form exists because it was in Justice League. So here's how my mind worked to write that in. Around Justice League, Bruce and Barbara were together not just as Bruce and Barbara romantically, but also as Batman and Batgirl. And she mentions this in Batman Beyond. Now, in an earlier episode of Batman Beyond, I think it's A Touch of Curare, the police are actually attempting to capture Batman with Barbara Gordon at the helm. Because they're like, okay, no, I'm putting a stop to this vigilante bullshit. That sort of Cape and Cowl stuff went out with the Tommy gun. That's a quote. So she's got all her police after Batman, and Batman being Terry. Terry uses the cloaking device on the suit to sort of hide from the police, and instantly Barbara's just like, "Give me a UV scan." Mm-hmm. She knows how that suit works. She knows exactly how that works. And I think it would be interesting for her to have actually had a hand in its design, which would explain not only why it exists in Justice League, but later why she knows how to counteract it.
That's awesome. Alright, so how do we jump into explaining it and then incorporate that?
Okay, so he says, "Oh my, what have you so far?" Alright, and let me just brainstorm what the dialogue will be like here. You don't have to type this. But
Yeah, we can, if you want, we can sort of just talk the rest of the dialogue out here, and I can type it up later.
Okay. But he says, "Well, do you remember a couple of years ago when Barbara made me that stealth batsuit? I never put much use in it because I prefer to rely on my own stealth. But I kept it around and I figured it may be useful. So I've decided to use that as a test bed because I've realized with all the new features, I might as well keep that in. Who knows what I could actually use it for." And, it's like, but I need more things. I need to be able to augment my strength. And if I'm going to go stronger, I might as well go much stronger. I can lift 10 times what I can normally lift here. With the new suit. I'd be able to match Bane blow for blow with this suit. And or at least I'd be able to match Bane at his toughest blow for blow with this suit. And I'd be more agile, and the suit would have neuromuscular capabilities. It's an old colleague of mine, or maybe not, there's a Wayne Enterprises employee called Peter Corso, who has been designing a neuromuscular amplification technology. Basically, the suit can go completely rigid if it needs to, thus granting me a lot more durability in terms of the suit. It won't be able to stop bullets, but it'd take a while for. Oh, this is a great line, because it actually harkens to something that happens later. I'd be pretty durable, I wouldn't be bulletproof, but I could take at least one lead pipe to the head.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
And then, so what else is...
So those are like the broad strokes that Batman's worried about, and then Alfred should suggest the finer things, like the crazy stuff that like we only saw, like
starts
in one Batman Beyond episode.
Yeah, like he starts joking about things,
Yeah.
and he incorporates those. Okay. So let me see if I can keep going with this. I've also decided I really need to be able to fly. There have been times when not being able to fly has caused me some difficulty. Fortunately, I had a way around this. You remember Dr. Ballantine, who was the Batwoman? Well, she designed this alloy, which I happen to have been able to recreate. It'll remember any shape, and I can use it to make the wings. And with fusion-powered rocket boosters in the feet, I could actually achieve lift and fly around and all sorts of junk.
Yeah. All of this that you've said so far is great, and I love that you have the info for it, and whatever. But I'm gonna find an awesome way to confine all of that.
Okay, but let me keep going with all these, and we'll see if you can spark note it down some.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to include as much of this as possible, because it's
Right, but also remember, at some point, this talk about the suit is going to get cut off by there being more attacks on the news, and then when Bruce leaves, Alfred's going to be like, "But what about the suit? Like, what are you doing about the suit?" And Bruce is going to say something along the lines of like, "Have at it. I trust you," or whatever. Like, there's still going to be some stuff that's left unsaid about the suit to be a surprise and to for Alfred to finish. So I'm saying that the stuff we mentioned should be the stuff that you find necessary to connect to other points throughout the series and the canon.
Mm-hmm.
But I think other things can be sort of just mentioned or added in or displayed without even being talked about. You know what I'm saying?
okay. So let me see if I can keep going with that in mind. But anyways, this colleague of mine, or this employee of mine, Dr. Peter Corso, has been working on this neuromuscular amplification stuff. The suit can go rigid, and I already said that. So I'll have flight capability, and Albert Kasimov is just like, well, that's... He should mention the flight capability before he mentions the super strength, and that'll lead Batman, and that'll lead Alfred to his "You're not RoboCop" line.
Okay, and actually, while you were talking, I had a thought of like, I was thinking about RoboCop and what he looks like and shit, and like especially RoboCop when when the first RoboCop they show in the movie RoboCop. That's like not like the person, but like the like big like box like RoboCop.
Yeah.
I was thinking, should they make mention to RoboCop when Bruce is testing the bat armor? Because that would look more like a RoboCop. And that could be in the line of like Bruce saying he can't do it. Or
that might work.
Somewhere in there.
That might work. Okay, that makes sense. Because it does actually look a lot more like RoboCop, that suit does.
Yeah.
But okay, so where was I? And he says like, okay, so the thing can fly. It makes me super strong and shit. And it's pretty awesome. And Alfred's just like, there's got to be some quip about the cape. Oh wait, okay, so Batman says the stuff about the stealth thing. Then Alfred says, notice you haven't added a cape to this one. And he's just like, well, that's because I've traded it for something better. It has wings. I'll be able to fly. And then he explains what those are made out of. And then he goes on about the strength, and he's just like, you've put a lot of thought into this. You didn't get any sleep at all, did you?
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Bruce goes to answer him, he gets cut off by the news broadcast.
Okay. Awesome.
And then the other features that it has, we can just show.
Okay, yeah, definitely. All right, so let's talk about the news broadcast. The one that comes up. We can go over our notes we have for it.
Now, the news broadcast will be difficult to actually write for because we have to keep in mind we're writing 9 simultaneous things at once.
Right, but I mean, it's gonna.
In the screenplay, it's not going to be as important.
Yeah,
but
we can get the specifics of each of those things later. It's just going to be a basic view of what the audience is getting in general.
Oh, man, that's going to fucking suck because I'm going to have shit translate.
All right, so here's some notes we have on how this newscast is going to go, and maybe our ideas have changed or not, but I'm going to read what we have. Batman's going to be watching a news report and see it get hit on TV live. It's a big flat screen with many different news stations. All are reporting on the attacks when a city gets hit. They go to a live feed of London because all the street corners have cameras. They all begin to report on this. After a minute of horror with this, one of the citizens actually reporting on the news gets hit. We see Abaddon start to hit a city behind the reporter, then seep into the studio. Then we had a note that one of the stations is from Switzerland. Perhaps that's one that gets hit. Symbolism showing that Reich doesn't care where countries are politically or whatever. We have that we'll need a few different languages, and one of them will pull some alien dialogue from some movie.
I was just thinking of having one just like shittily done in an online translator, and the actual dialogue is somewhere along the lines of, are you really so bored that you have to translate this fucking bullcrap?
That's awesome. I love that.
They actually I got the idea from the Jedi Academy video game. There's like this, there's that whole Star Wars text, like the Aurebesh, that it corresponds to the English alphabet. And so they just have the scrolling of the Aurebesh. It just looks neat. But it actually said something. Like, they actually took the time to make it say something. And what it said was, welcome to the Jedi Academy video game. And in this game, you get to fight with lightsabers and all sorts of different laser guns and all sorts of neat crap. Why are you sitting here translating this crap instead of playing the game? Is the game that boring to you? I mean, honestly, you paid money for this game, and this is how you're going to spend your time?
That's so awesome.
But yeah, it's like this whole thing, and like you'd never catch it unless you were doing exactly that.
Yeah.
If you translated this, you wasted your time.
That reminds me of on Weird Al's '96 album Bad Hair Day. There's a song called "I Remember Larry," and there's like just a sort of instrumental bridge like towards the end of the song, and really faintly in the background you can hear a voice, and it's Al's voice, like just singing something that's like stretched out and long, and like it doesn't really make any sense. And if you play it backwards and turn like his track up, it's him singing the words, "Gee, you have an awful lot of free time on your hands."
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Next note we had was the first U.S. city to get hit, Los Angeles. We'll have D.C. get 2 later, but Bruce gets the news of L.A. getting hit on the D.C. news. Alfred's all like, what does this mean, in order to give Batman a gate to hypothesize about the events.
And there's got to be that creepy emergency broadcast system.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We should have Raish also hit places that aren't heavily populated so nobody on Earth feels safe. Waynesboro, Virginia. He could command that. and Ubu or Klotkin could ask why, and Raish responds so nobody feels safe. Or Alfred or Talia could be wondering that, and Bruce answers immediately so nobody feels safe. Because
we have established that Talia isn't here yet.
Yeah, right. That was an old note. Alfred
Talia is just sitting there on the other side of the globe. Yeah, well, I think.
Alfred can be all like, why would they hit a non-military target? And that's what makes Bruce think that it's not a military attack. You suggested Alfred vomiting at how crazy everything is on the news. And we said, let's mimic 9/11 creepily somehow.
Was it... I like the idea of making it creepy, but it's gotten to the point where mimicking 9/11 is a little cliche.
Yeah. I'm in agreement.
Is that just a turn of phrase you used?
Yeah.
Because just like that's what people were bitching at. That's okay.
I think afterwards I said at least give some raw footage to that tone or whatever.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, it's like that was one of the many thousands of problems with James Cameron Avatar was that a lot of the whole home tree getting destroyed and shit, a lot of that was like shot for shot based on 9/11 news footage, and people recognized it.
I didn't recognize it. That's nuts.
But yeah, no, people were just like, they remembered the fucking news broadcast where you've got like the woman, holding the little kid screaming with all the little dead other children nearby and all this fucking crazy shit. That a lot of it was actually just sort of based on an actual tragedy, and a lot of people were really pissed.
Damn. But like that's art depicting life, like. Or art mimicking life, like
I just wouldn't want to shot for shot actually reenact tragedy.
Us no. I'm just saying like anyone who got pissed at James Cameron for doing that, I'm like, well, he's basically showing what happened to you, so why would you be upset?
Yeah.
People.
You know what I find really interesting about James Cameron is that apparently now he's like a total dick. Apparently he's really really hard to work with. But he does have some awesome things to his name.
Yeah. For
For example, he's been to the wreck of the Titanic not just once to film shit there, but actually 4 times. He just goes there sometimes.
Yeah.
And what's even crazier, and I did not know this number was so small. You know how many people have been to the wreck of the Titanic?
12?
There's more than that. But
No.
it's... Yeah, no, I thought it was going to be like, maybe 1,000, 2,000 people made it down there. There's a lot of researchers that want to see that. And, it was only discovered in 1986.
What are you doing?
Oh, stretching.
Oh, okay. Just wondering.
But yeah, no, apparently in the years since it was discovered, only like 158 people have been there.
Oh, wow.
And I think one of them was actually the daughter of one of the survivors.
Oh, wow.
And actually, yeah, after they found it, there were still when they found it, there were still like 20 people that were still alive from the wreck of the Titanic, and a couple of them went there. They didn't go down to the wreck, but they floated over the spot and dropped flowers.
Wow. That's pretty incredible.
But yeah, I just thought it was neat that he's been there to the wreck of the Titanic 4 times, and that he's been to the bottom of the Marianas Trench by himself. Like that's a world that's a world record. Nobody else has done it by themselves before, and he did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, he one of the biggest reasons he made the movies The Abyss and Titanic were just because of the fascination he has with the fucking deep sea.
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost a love affair.
I love The Abyss.
Oh, The Abyss is a great movie.
That and Terminator 2, I don't know which one of those would come out in a fight. It would come out on top in a fight, but it'd be a bloody fucking battle by the end of it.
I mean, I think Terminator 2 is more classic, but I think The Abyss is just amazing.
The Abyss, he gets so little credit for that film, and I think that is just absolutely fantastic work.
No, I
Yeah.
agree.
And
yeah.
oh my god, the soundtrack, it's incredibly chilling. I think it was Alan Silvestri wrote that, and I want to say it was his brother or his son, or maybe it was even the same guy that wrote the soundtrack for Apollo 13.
Wow.
But you can hear that if
Yeah.
you think about it in the soundtracks. It's similar in a lot of ways.
I've only seen both of them once.
Really? Watch both of them again.
Okay. I loved both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, Gravity. You guys have no idea.
So with Gravity, is it just like the current ISS or some sort of successor? That's just been bugging me.
I don't know what that means.
The current International Space Station or something in the future.
I don't know.
They don't say.
I mean, they might, but I mean,
You weren't paying attention to it. Yeah, no, that's the sort of thing I would pay attention to.
Yeah, I'm focused on the filmmaking and the story, not the technical stuff. Although the list of credits in that movie, there are far more credits for people who don't work in the movies, who work at like fucking NASA and are scientists and are fucking advisors on that movie, than there are for people who work in the film.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I watched a movie a couple of months back called Europa Report, which was basically this heavily based in fact science fiction movie that basically in 20 or 30 years a private company sends a group of 6 or 8 people to one of the larger moons of Jupiter called Europa, where it is very high evidence for. It's basically this big ball of ice, but Jupiter's tides sort of stretch it and wear it out, and they think that there is an ocean underneath all of this ice that covers the entire thing that's heated by this flexing that and they think that with if it has hydrothermal vents, they think that there might actually be life under that ice cap, because it's like a mile thick ball of ice, but they say under it it's got like twice the amount of water as all of Earth's oceans combined. And but like the hydrothermal vents are like these underwater volcanic geysers that shoot up boiling water and chemicals, that they thought that the absolute bottom of the ocean, they thought that nothing could live there. There was no light, there was no way for anything to get energy. All the dead things that floated from the top were eaten by the time they got to the bottom. And then they discovered in the 70s these hydrothermal vents, life that lived completely and utterly independent of any other life on Earth. If the sun went out right now, the oceans froze over, that life could continue to exist for millions of years.
That's scary as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, and this movie was pretty scary because they encountered this fucking crap.
It was scary. It was good. You liked
Oh
it?
yeah, no, it was pretty good. I'd say the movie is definitely worth a watch and maybe a rewatch now and then. But the reason I bring that up is it was announced about the same time that Gravity was announced, but this was an indie film. Mm-hmm. It was actually a very high budget indie film because I don't remember what the budget on it, but it looks really, really good. Like they built all of these sets, and the space mission that is planned that they used to get there, all of the science stuff on there is actually based on current NASA proposals to do exactly what they did in that movie.
That's cool.
And then Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is one of the foremost astrophysicists in the world. He's very well known for all sorts of different books and scientific achievements and stuff. Actually made a cameo in that film, describing the mission itself. He's just like, well, I think that these guys are going to find what they're looking for out there. And it was really neat that they actually got.
Yeah.
One mistake I did notice that they made is that the film was supposed to take place 20 or 30 years in the future, and Neil deGrasse Tyson still looked like he was like 35.
Well,
I don't.
There's and Neil deGrasse Tyson apparently is annoyed that he wasn't involved in Gravity, and he went and saw it, and he was like, I enjoyed it, but there's so many inaccuracies that are depicted about space. And first of all, it's a movie about depicting the loneliness and unlivableness of space. That's what it's about. But he went on Twitter. He went on a Twitter rant yesterday about so many things mysteries of gravity, and he just listed so many things that were impossible about the movie. But I'm just saying if you're going to see it, don't try to focus on that shit.
Okay.
There's a sequence where one space station is within sight of the space station they're at, and he's like, it wouldn't be. It just wouldn't be. But it was necessary for the plot.
But yeah, there was now, from what you've described, it sounds like my idea of the movie is completely different, because if I remember correctly, falling from the height of the International Space Station, if you were to just jump off the ISS towards the Earth, the amount of time it would take you to hit the ground would actually be comparable to the running time of a feature film.
Really?
Yeah, it takes. Yeah, because you can take a weather balloon. You can buy these things; they're like $100 online. You fill it with helium, and you can make a little box. And I've wanted to do this for a long time, but it's difficult to do in this area because of all these mountains.
Yeah.
But you make this thing that holds a camera and a power source and a little heat source, and this weather balloon will take it up. And it will get to a height of 120,000 feet, which is roughly 21 miles. From that height, positioned over where we are now, you can see Africa.
Damn.
Over the Atlantic Ocean. You can see the curvature of the Earth very, very clearly. You can see it a little bit in that picture, but you can definitely tell that we're sitting on a big ball in these, and people make them, and I mean it's a legitimate almost spacecraft. You're still very well in the Earth's atmosphere. It's not considered space until you hit 50 miles, but at 21 miles up, it's pretty much space.
Yeah, that's
Right.
nice.
And you can build this for seriously about $400.
That's crazy.
But when the balloons, when they get up high enough, they will expand. It'll actually go from a balloon that's about 5 feet across. It'll balloon to about 30 feet before it pops. And they're designed to do this. They'll pop when they get high enough because the pressure is so low. They'll just explode. When the thing falls down, provided you don't have a parachute on it, it'll take 40 minutes to hit the ground.
Wow. That's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. But it was but my original thought of what the movie Gravity was going to be, and it doesn't sound like it is from your description of it, but was that it was going to be a real-time, oh shit, it's hit the fan, and the rest of the running time of the movie is real-time, the transit towards the ground, and all the steps taken to avoid actually hitting the ground part. But
no, but it is in real time.
Cool.
Sort of. It's
But
sort of in real time.
intercut like that.
Yeah, it feels like it's in real time, even though there's a little bit of time jump.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing ride.
If you are going to see Gravity, do not go if it's not in IMAX and 3D. It is worth your $17.50, listener.
1776.
All right.
Pennsylvania! Pennsylvania!
All right, wait. So before...
Does no one else know that musical?
No.
No.
I mean, I know it, but I don't know it. Okay, before we wrap this up, how did you feel about all those notes that I read for this fucking screen thing?
Yeah, very good. I mean, I want... The biggest part of this scene is...
That thing happens from the YouTube video?
Not just that, but the way Paul described it. When... This has to be psychologically terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, chill you to the fucking bone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I want to legitimately feel like I am in danger watching this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. We can do that.
But that is important, and I don't know how we'll be able to write that into the screenplay.
Well, that gives me an awesome challenge.
But yeah.
Let's see how far we are. And then how do we...
Oh, man, it's only 10:52.
And then we got to write him saying... we have to get them from that footage happening to Batman being like, I'm going to go check out what the rest of the world knows to go to the mountain meeting. So...
We gotta figure out that transition there.
Yeah.
He just shows up. Hey, I'm Batman, but don't tell anybody I'm just Bruce Wayne today.
What's up, bitches?
Bitches.
And Superman.
So I'll work. I'll work with the rest of
Super
that
bitch.
scene. I'll work with the rest of that scene, and we'll have that to work with. Because that gives me the fucking suit discussion, the fucking attack, and the transition to the next scene. That's still enough to work on for us to talk about for next time. So, you guys feel good about this?
Yeah.
I like having time to catch up.
Yeah. No, it's been way too long.
Yeah.
Finish those drawings.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's the voice hunt going? Have you heard from anyone yet?
No one. But I'll talk to P. Gertz, because I'm pretty sure P. Gertz could be like, so hello, come be voices with these guys. They're pretty awesome. They do cool shit.
Dude, we could
suck your dick for money.
We could get audio of that and put it at the beginning of this podcast before the theme song, like sort of like an advertisement, like just from, like, I don't know, just like in a way that's like, because people want to hear something they recognize like that and be like, oh, there's the Joker voice. What's he have to say? It's be like, hey, you want to be a part of this? They're looking for voices and animators. Email them at whatever it is. And
we are projectbatman@gmail.com.
Yeah. See if you can get them to do that.
That'd be awesome.
I'll talk to him about that.
I mean, it would technically be a commercial, so I guess we could fucking pull together and pay him for that. I'd pay him for that. That could be worth it.
Definitely.
Just like a minute or 30 seconds to a minute worth of whatever.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 3 different versions of it, all basically mentioning the same thing.
Yeah.
Just so we don't play the same audio clip all the time.
Right. Okay. Alright, well.
That'd be awesome.
I'm sure you guys know the correct response to this. No.
Batman!
You guys are good at this.